2 just in case.
Okay.
Be right back.
So, okay. It is 5 o'clock on June 10th, and we will officially start our Bloomington Human Relations Commission meeting. I will call the roll. Commissioner Gary McGinnis,
Present.
Commissioner Corinne Cunan,
Present.
Commissioner Anthony Jones,
Present.
Commissioner Suresh Krishna, Commissioner Raymond, no.
Nisha Carey.
Okay. So that one is, I'm sorry, guys. That one is no longer, right?
Right.
Okay. Commissioner Kaya Jai,
Present.
Mr. Hurt, then we have a quorum.
You have a quorum.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone. We will move along as the agenda has been printed and provided to us. The second agenda item is public comment. And since we're streaming on YouTube, we will pause to see if someone has joined us. Hearing no one speak, we will continue moving forward to the approval of minutes from our March meeting. Mr. Hurt sent those to us electronically.
I move for the adoption of the minutes as presented by email.
I second.
Okay, I will call for the vote. Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner McGinnis,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Ajay,
Aye.
and Commissioner Smith. Aye. Minutes are approved as presented. Thank you, commissioners. Agenda item number 4B. No, sorry, agenda item number 4A. Review and approve the BHRC position statement regarding Mr. George Floyd. That was also shared with us electronically. We will open the floor for discussion on that. Hopefully everyone has had time to read it. It was essentially a one-page position statement.
I have a comment on paragraph 3 regarding dissenters and violence and vandalism. Being guided by Reverend King's The Other America speech, where he pointed out that while he condemns looting and rioting in all of its forms, he could not do so without also equally condemning the conditions that lead to such actions. In that spirit, I think it would not be a disservice for us to remove that paragraph. And if it were to remain, I would recommend it remain with some language that reflects that understanding from Dr. King's position. I do believe that writing such a paragraph might be tedious and it would take some significant wordsmithing, and the simplest thing to do might be to simply remove it. That would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Commissioner Ajay, for calling that our attention and reminding us of Dr. King's words. Feedback, thoughts from other commissioners?
This is Commissioner Jones. Just a quick question. So far as the distribution of the press release, what's the plan approach?
Sorry, as far as the distribution of the position statement,
Oh, correct.
no, it won't be just, I'm sorry. Once the language is approved this evening, then it will go to the city's communication manager for dissemination to whatever group she sends it to, newspapers and wherever it is. She sends.
I'm supportive of the recommendations that Kai made in regards to the language.
So Commissioner Jones, can you clarify which recommendation?
The short path so far as removing the paragraph number 3, I believe it was.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Any additional thoughts, suggestions around the statement as a whole?
I think the statement gives a balance that we need in this particular overall statement. And I believe we probably should keep it in the statement.
That third paragraph, Commissioner McGinnis?
That is correct.
Okay.
Keep it in the paper.
Thank you for your comments, Commissioner McGinnis. Anything else? Commissioner Conam, any thoughts? Any reflections on it?
No, I'm good with the suggestions.
With the suggestions?
Yeah, that Ajay mentioned.
As Commissioner McGinnis mentioned, I'm sorry, it was cutting in and out on my end.
As Commissioner Ajay mentioned.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Conam, for clarifying that for me. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Hurt, for clarification, this position statement, when approved by the commission, it will follow the same path or roadmap for being made public that all other,
Press releases.
yeah,
Yes,
public facing documents that we have put forth has gone, right?
correct.
Okay. Commissioners I will need a recommendation on one way or another. Commissioner Ajay or Commissioner Jones will
Uh,
need the
this-
recommendation. So
This
this can,
is Commissioner Jones. I make a recommendation that we keep paragraph number 3, add some language, as Kai indicated, that in addition is opposed to conditions that lead to such uprising.
so let me pull that back because I led you to use that language. I need a motion instead of a recommendation. So
And
can,
okay, I'll make a recommendation I make the recommendation that paragraph number 3,
Can we get a motion, please?
I make a motion that paragraph 3 is amended to include language that also add balance, that additionally, the commission is not supportive of behavior that leads to such behavior.
This is Suresh. I recommend that. I second that.
Is there any additional discussion around that motion before I call for the vote?
Could you repeat the motion that we're voting on? I'm not clear on it now.
I'll repeat what I'll try to add clarification as well. To keep paragraph number 3 that was the focus, add language to it that basically indicates that the commission is also opposed of conditions that leads to behavior, unruly behavior, etc. That's kind of the gist of it.
Thank you.
Are we going with the previous second, or do we need a new second?
Are there any other questions around this motion?
I would like to add a comment in opposition to the motion, even though we haven't voted on it yet.
So,
I'm sorry,
yes,
if I may, thank you. Adding the language as suggested by Mr. Jones does two things. One, it gives Mr. Hurt some more work to do. And number two, it radically alters the way the current paragraph 3 is written. Paragraph 3 is written in such a way to say, we're going to hold accountable dissenters who commit violence and vandalism and whose self-serving acts attempt to diminish and dilute the purpose of peaceful protest. I don't see how we can reconcile that with, while we understand the reasons for people, while we abhor the conditions that lead people to behave in this way, we condemn the behavior. In other words, my initial position to remove the thing in its entirety, I think will be more powerful and more unclear than equivocating. While we do this one thing, we still want to hold these people responsible. Now, I trust Mr. Hurt can do a fabulous editing job, as he's already done on this document. I just wonder if it wouldn't be simpler to take a vote with it being removed. And if we don't agree on removing it, then we can have a second vote to amend it. But there is a motion on the floor.
there is a motion on the floor, so we need to, Commissioner Jai has stated his opposition. So the motion has been placed on the floor by Commissioner Jones. We'll move forward with a vote on to accept the motion or to vote down the motion that has been put forth. And that is to paragraph 3, and by adding additional and which will cause additional work for Mr. Hurt to try and make the language work. So, Commissioner Conan.
Point of order, Madam Chair. The seconder of the motion is no longer with us.
Sorry, I thought we had a second on that. Thank you.
We did, but the seconder is no longer present. Oh, there he is. Okay.
I was there. I had some issues with the video,
That's
trying to figure it out.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the motion is still on the floor with the first person making the motion, and the second is still in place. I will call for the vote. Commissioner Conan,
Agree.
Commissioner McGinnis,
Agree?
Commissioner Suresh,
Agree.
Commissioner Jones,
Agree.
Commissioner Ajay,
Nay.
and Commissioner Smith. Nay. So the motion put forth by Commissioner Jones moved forward. Mr. Hurt, I'm going to ask if you have clear understanding of what is needed, the action that needs to be taken with this position statement.
I do.
Can you communicate that to me?
Yes. I'm to keep paragraph, to add language that balances it out with the spirit of the language in Dr. King's Other America speech.
Okay. My additional question is, how do we keep this position statement simple and concise by adding additional language? We want people to read it, to be able to assume it, but I'm a little concerned. It's been voted on. I just have questions. How do we not make it bloated?
Is this a question for me?
Yes.
Honestly, I wouldn't know until I started wordsmithing it, but I would do my best to make sure that it is concise and to the point. At this time period, that's all I can say.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Commissioner, for the healthy dialogue around this position statement, as it will reflect our commission. So I appreciate that, the engagement. Do we have a time frame, Mr. Hurt, as to when we would want this to be polished up and finalized and move forward to the Public Relations Department?
Yeah, I would say by Friday.
So, not speaking on behalf of the commissioners, do we get to lay eyes on it before you send it to the Public Relations?
Definitely. Mhm.
Okay. I'm assuming the commissioners would want to review it again. That's a question to the commissioners, I'm sorry.
Yes,
Not only review, but also vote, I would say.
yeah, I agree. Vote.
So, would a electric vote suffice the commissioners? Oh, trying to determine, are you voting on the language that's been added, and would that elongate the process? And this is discussion. How might that look?
One could make a motion today on the remaining paragraphs so that when it's redistributed, we'd simply be voting yay or nay on paragraph 3.
Thank you, Commissioner Jai. Other suggestions? We want to try and expedite this based on our review. It appears that people are comfortable with standing behind all paragraphs. The one paragraph that's in question is paragraph 3. So what's your position? What are you comfortable with? And how would you like to vote?
Commissioner Smith, Chairperson Smith,
Yes.
are you seeking
No.
a motion in regards to what we want to vote on in regards to the updates?
Yes.
I make a motion that we will vote on exclusively the updates to paragraph number 3.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Is there a second on this one?
I'll second this, Suresh.
Thank you, Commissioner Krishna. Is there
I'd like-
any discussion?
I'd like to offer a friendly amendment to that, which is that we, in addition to the language Commissioner Jones just presented, we also vote now to approve all other paragraphs in the document. In other words, the motion now reads,
I'm waiting on Commissioner Jones to,
Amendment accepted.
okay,
So I'll state the complete motion. The motion is that when updates are made to the current document, we'll vote exclusively of updates to paragraph 3. And also today we are approving all remaining paragraphs.
okay. The motion has been amended that when we vote, we are voting to approve all paragraphs that were read today, excluding 3, and we will be reviewing the 3rd paragraph to approve or not, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Hurt, did you get that?
I got it.
Okay. Thank you, commissioners. Thank you for the motion, for the amendment, and for the second, Commissioner Krishna. Okay, we will go to the vote. Commissioner McGinnis,
Aye.
Commissioner Conan,
Aye.
Commissioner Krishna,
Aye.
Commissioner Ajay,
aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
and Commissioner Smith. Aye. You guys are making me work today. Mr. Hurt, we have a consensus on that motion. Thank you, commissioners. Okay. We are now on item 4B, ways to resolve conflicts within the community through use of mediation and conciliation. Mr. Hurt, are you leading that topic?
I can. Actually, I was just making a statement that's taken right out of the commission's mission statement, that basically part of our duties in the community is to provide space for mediation and conciliation. There is no time or place name. This is just a put on the floor to say that this is something you're willing to do if we're called upon to do it.
Conversation, commissioners?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Jones. I always hate to, I sound like I'm an old timer always talking about, we used to do this back in the day. We used to provide that service back in the day. So that is something that was done at a certain point in time of the commission. And what was done at that time was we actually facilitated a professional mediator. We actually did not perform the mediation ourselves. Those on the commission at that point in time actually did take training for mediation to be familiar with the procedures and the paperwork and everything there. But what we did at that point in time was we facilitated mediation. And we did have a few customers in regards to that service back at that point in time.
Yeah, I don't think anyone had the expectation that the commissioners would actually be the mediators. We would definitely hire a professional mediator, but the commission would be the sponsor of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making the community aware of this?
Yes.
And when you say sponsor, Mr. Hurd, are you talking about financially?
If we need to, yes.
Mhm.
My take of the statement 4B, and hearing, first of all, I support what Commissioner Jones just said, but I heard a passive voice. We wait for those who are seeking said services to come to us. I like to see us be more proactive. And in particular, for example, there's language now being bandied about defunding the police. And when we talk about conciliation and mediation, I think there's a role that the HRC could play in bringing disparate voices to the table to flesh out this issue and see, is this something that the community would support, or just to facilitate discussion, not necessarily resolve a conflict. But I think it is a conflict in our community right now. And if we could facilitate discussion around that topic, it would, number one, bring the name of the HRC to the forefront as actually being about something, and it would actually provide a valuable, neutral venue for dissenting voices to come and state their positions and maybe encourage debate on the topic.
You know, if we don't become part of the solution here, this commission is completely irrelevant. We've got to be part of this solution, and we've got to be proactive. I agree 100%. Majority of people don't even know the commission exists.
Great feedback, great comments. Other commissioners?
I'm good with the suggestion.
Commissioner Krishna, can you repeat that? You're good, did you say?
Yes, I'm good with the suggestion. I think it's a good thing.
So what would be the next step?
Specifically on the defunding the police issue, I heard the mayor come out with a statement today that there's absolutely no way, unless he were convinced that the positives outweighed the negatives, there was no way he would support defunding the police locally. I heard him also say he doesn't think the council would support such a measure. So I think beginning a dialogue or bringing to the table those in the community who feel that defunding would be a good idea, and having them perhaps meet with the mayor informally with the BHC to have that discussion, to give them the opportunity to present to him why they think the positives outweigh the negative. That would be my recommendation.
Are you wanting to make a motion on this, Kai? Commissioner Kai, sorry.
If there's no further discussion, yes, I'd be happy to move that the,
Is there any additional discussion on this? We had three people, three commissioners interested and supportive of the commission taking action and getting involved to help lead to a solution. Additional discussion time.
Well, the real problem is we can't get people together because of the COVID-19. Until we can get a meeting of people, interested people and the community, I don't know how we can proceed, and that's the real problem.
just like we're doing it here, make it a virtual.
That minimizes a lot of people are not going to be able to probably get involved in this technology.
I would offer that there are organizations, NAACP, Black Lives Matter, New Gen Initiative, that could facilitate a room with a projector and a laptop so that more people could participate.
Input from other commissioners. I'm trying to remain unbiased here. So ways or options for putting this meeting together. I believe what Commissioner McGinnis is leading, because we're still in one of the phases of limited face-to-face contact. Options for moving forward with putting a meeting, facilitating a meeting to have discussions with the mayor around this topic. There are a lot of meetings taking place utilizing technology. So those are happening all day, every day.
Would the mayor involve our commission in the discussion? Maybe Michael could answer that. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, say, would the mayor involve?
Yes.
No. I don't think unless we make it known to him that we want to be involved in it, I don't think it would be something he'd come up with on his own. No.
Okay.
So Commissioner McGinnis, can you clarify your question about the mayor being?
I guess my question is, would the mayor allow a joint meeting between us and the community? Or does he not want that type of interaction with the committee?
That's the committee's call, not the mayor's.
Are
Okay.
you asking if it's okay for the commission to meet with the community?
Well, I guess, do we have to ask permission of the mayor that we do go ahead and have an active program?
No.
We can just go ahead and do it.
We can engage with the community. Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. The community's got to engage with us too.
And we can invite him, the mayor, to participate instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clarify. Does someone have their mic? That's the part I was trying to clarify with you, Commissioner McGinnis, is if you were thinking that the mayor had some limitations around participating in the meeting.
Yeah, I have a question about it, yes.
So uncertainty if he would,
Politically, yeah.
uncertainty if he would be willing to participate in such meeting or said meeting.
Yes, I would wonder about that. I
Would
really don't know. I've not worked with the mayor that much, so.
Yes, we would extend the invitation. As with anyone, they would accept or not accept.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to move that the Human Relations Commission explore the possibility of starting a conversation between interested parties in the public and interested parties in Bloomington City Council or Bloomington City Government around the topic of defunding the police.
This is Commissioner Jones. I like the wording, explore the possibility, and I second that motion.
Okay, it's been properly motioned and second that the commission explores the possibility of putting together a conversation, defund the current. Oh, Commissioner Jai, that just left me.
Just end it with defund the police.
Defund the police. Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to call for the vote. Commissioner Krishna,
Aye.
Commissioner Conam,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner McGinnis,
Abstain?
Commissioner Ajay,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith, aye. The motion passes. Thank you, commissioners, once again for engaging in a healthy dialogue around a topic that is very worthy. One that a solution needs to be arrived at in a very timely manner. One that everyone in the community needs to be very, very much concerned about and all hands in on in order to move the needle on this. There is no room for people to be lackadaisical on this topic, on the topic of racism, and specifically what I'm honing in on. It is an issue. It is a gaping issue, and we cannot deny that. And as members of the commission, we are called to take action. That is why we are on this commission. So now is time to really look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, why am I on this commission? And if you find yourself waffling back and forth, then maybe you should have a stronger conversation about yourself and the mission of the commission, the mission of the commission. So, okay, thank you. Old business, I think there were a couple of things from the minute that we needed to gently touch on, and that was we did not get any additional information from the Normal Human Relations Commission, no formal information about meeting with them. So we will put that on the backlog until something else surfaces. So unless I get some input from you all, we will scoot right along. So I will pause briefly.
I agree with your approach.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Just
Say
put it
again,
on the,
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
oh, no problem. I was just saying, I agree with Commissioner Smith to put that item on the back burner.
I would just like to ask those of you who've been here in prior years, we're already in June. Is there any preparatory steps that we should be asking Mr. Hurd to begin to explore, even while we sit back and wait to hear from the town of Normal? Because we're going to go ahead and do this thing no matter what. So I wonder if there's some background stuff we can be doing so we don't rush at the end of the day.
Commissioner Jai, we've already secured our venue. So yeah, we're moving right along.
Thank you. I should have known. I should have known.
Yes, it was a great question, Commissioner Jai. I would say 2 to 3 months ago, I know Mr. Hurd was exploring speakers as well as the venue, but that was a great question to get out in front of all of the commissioners. So thank you, Commissioner Jai. This will be a new experience for us. Well, new for some, because in the past, commissioners have been heavily engaged in the planning of this event. So this will be the first year in a while that we have been able to step back from the hands-on approach by Mr. Hurd driving this with help from others at the so. We had also, our meetings had a representative from Prairie State Legal Services visited with us and gave us some really important information around fair housing. And we were interested in getting some training on that and wanted Mr. Hurt to reach out to Prairie State Legal to determine when we could get a date for training on that. And then we shifted to shelter in place. Are we ready to, once again to focus on that, or because of the conditions in our environment, would we like to continue to pause that? I will put that out there to the commissioners.
If we have the time and the training is available and can be done online, then I guess there's no point in waiting. We can just go ahead and try to accommodate in one of the upcoming meetings.
I agree with Commissioner Conan.
Any additional discussion, recommendation, thoughts around this? If not, I will call for a motion.
Before that, is it possible to do that in the current state, like online, pivoting from what we had earlier thought we would like to execute that and change it to the current, COVID situation? Is it possible? What are the changes that need to be done?
What we
Can
could do, Commissioner Smith, is to vote to proceed with scheduling the training if it can be done.
I think we lost audio.
So Commissioner Krishna, my question was, are we comfortable with moving forward with Mr. Hurt reaching out to Prairie State to see if we could get training scheduled? And that would be a Zoom type of training.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I was trying to figure out, since we are, if we want to do this, yeah, go ahead, Conan.
Sorry, I think
Sorry, Commissioner Conan.
the option is we are looking at is only if they can provide the training online, then we are trying to pass the motion or move the motion. Yeah, that's the first requirement. They should be able to provide the online training.
Okay, so before we put that into motion, I mean, do we need to wait to get that information?
To get
Mr. Hurt,
my question, are we ready to move forward with Mr. Hurt reaching out to Prairie State Legal to determine if they are available and willing to administer training, fair housing training to the commission? We have not determined a date, and would they be available to do it online with us?
okay. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree that we can get that information, move forward to get that information.
Commissioner Krishna, I think you're saying you are in support of that?
Yes.
Okay. Can I get a motion for this, indicating that the commission is in support of Mr. Hurt moving forward to reach out to Prairie State Legal to see if they would be available to provide fair housing training to the commission online via leveraging technology. Maybe I just stated the motion, but can someone state a motion similar to that, please?
I make a motion that we go ahead and contact Prairie PSLS to see if they can provide online training for the commissioners.
Can you be more specific and indicate fair housing in your motion?
Okay, yes, certainly. Fair housing training for the commissioners online. They could provide that.
Thank you, Commissioner McGinnis. To this motion,
Is there a second?
Yeah, I second it.
okay, thank you. I didn't hear you, Commissioner Conam.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, I will call for the vote. Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
Commissioner Krishna,
Aye.
Commissioner Ajay,
Aye.
Commissioner McGinnis,
Aye.
Commissioner Smith, aye. There is a consensus. You can move forward with contact starting the fair house training and their availability to conduct it online. Thank you, Commissioner, once again for the discussion and vote. Okay. Those are all of the items I have for old business, new business. We don't have anything documented, so I will continue moving forward to agenda item number 7, which states our next scheduled meeting is July 8th. And before we adjourn our, I do know that there is, just as an FYI, another commissioner was named or has been named. The person has not taken their oath. Am I correct?
She is scheduled for the, they did get in contact with her. Scheduled for tomorrow or Friday, I can't think of which one.
Okay. Okay, let's quickly go around. Commissioner Jones, anything before we adjourn?
Nothing to present tonight.
Commissioner McGinnis,
No, nothing more.
Commissioner Conam,
Nothing here.
Commissioner Ajay,
Nothing further.
you disappointed me. Commissioner Krishna,
I didn't have anything.
okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting, please?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Okay.
Thank you, commissioners. I'll call for the vote. Hopefully it's in unison. This meeting was called to adjourn at 5:48 tonight. Thank you all commissioners for participating. Enjoy the balance of your evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone take care.
All right, good night, everyone.